Hello and welcome to Adam's Music Box, where today is a sad day because one of my very favorite singers of all time in any genre, simply one of the best, a voice from the heavens, has left us at the age of 88. Roberta Flack has died. Now, I've done videos on Roberta Flack. Quite a lot on this channel. She's on my list of the best female vocalists of all time, if you want to check out that stream. But for those of you who might be from a different generation or never got into her music, as the world sort of gathers together to celebrate her artistic life, I really recommend that you dive into things. And the best place to start actually is probably her second album because there are so many great musicians on it, so many great collaborations. Hubert Laws, what a great, probably my favorite flute player ever. Eric Gale, one of the best guitar players ever, is on that album. And it also features collaborations with Donny Hathaway, who arranged much of the album, played piano on the album, and his song Gone Away that he wrote with Leroy Hudson and Curtis Mayfield, other absolute legends, is a song that not only is so beautiful, but it really showcases Roberta's singing and her range and her dynamic force absolutely magnificently. And of course, she never put out a bad album at all. One of the seminal albums of soul of all time came out a few years later in 72, and it was simply called Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, the two of them singing together. And it's just a sublime album, and it was a continuation of a long association between the two, even as Donnie's mental issues sort of got in the way, but they continued to collaborate right up until the very end. Her album that really made her an international superstar came out in 73, Killing Me Softly, the title track, huge, very popular. It was later redone by the Fugees in the 90s. Another one of her albums, arguably one of her best, possibly my favorite, is the Feel Like Making Love album from 75. Again, such great musician. She only ever played with the finest musicians, and this album is absolutely no exception. Perfect from start to finish. Another one of my favorites, Blue Light in the Basement from 77, which features The Closer I Get to You, which was a duet with Donny. Yet again, this association continues. One of the best love songs of all time because it's coming from a place of sincerity. Everyone on this album, a virtuoso. Ronnie Foster, one of my absolute favorites, plays on this album. You've got Steve Gadd and Idris Muhammad, two of my very favorite drummers, James and Tume, who I've done a video about. The list goes on. And her career continued with great albums into the 80s. At the end of the 70s, she released what would be her final work with Donny, recorded slightly before his death. And this was Roberta Flack featuring Donny Hathaway, an album that sort of became a de facto and frankly official tribute to Donny. And she continued to have some great albums throughout the 1980s and 90s and continued to perform until just a few years ago when ALS meant that she could no longer physically sing. But for most of her long career, she was entertaining audiences worldwide. The 70s was her golden era, but great stuff in the 80s, great performances in the 90s. She was a very good pianist as well, discovered originally by Les McCann, one of the absolute titans of jazz and soul and frankly fusion. And she will be very much missed by her fans. Such a broad range of musical styles, all within that soul umbrella, but a lot of diversity, a lot to enjoy. Her album Set the Night to Music in 1991, you could call it something of a comeback. Really great stuff there too. Quincy Jones involved in that one. Always the best of the best in terms of arrangers and musicians that she surrounded herself with. So rest in peace to one of my very favorites of all time. We'll never see another one like you. And for those who don't know her music, check it out today. You won't be disappointed. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.